It's Wellbeing Wednesday on Channel 98.9, a weekly series focusing on all things good for you. It's sponsored by Blue Zones Project Corry. Health and well-being are much more than the food you eat or the amount of physical activity you get each day. Throughout this series, we'll explore the 5 facets of well-being, including purpose, social, financial, community, and physical health. In 2022, Corry became the first certified Blue Zones community in the northeastern United States. And each Wednesday, we'll talk with a community partner about the action they're taking to add to our well-being here in Corry. The Rails and Trails Park coming to downtown Corry, spearheaded by Impact Corry, will be the trailhead of the future Erie to Pittsburgh multipurpose trail. Erie artists Jessica and Nick Taylor, along with Brad Triana, are designing a gateway art installation for the park. Jessica and Nick stopped by Channel 98.9 on January 26 to talk about their work. More information on the Rails and Trails Park is available at impactcorry.org.
Hi everyone, this is Laura from Impact Corry. Today I have the pleasure of sitting here with Jessica and Nick. They are fantastic artists from Erie, PA, and they will be working on sculptures for the Rails to Trails Park. How are you guys doing?
Hi, we're good. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure. Before I ask my questions, I want to thank the PA Council on the Arts. A lot of this work is being partially funded by them. Without that funding, we wouldn't be able to have these artists come and work with us. So first, let's start by telling us who you are and about your artwork.
My name is JessicaTaylor, and I co-own a video production company here with my husband, Nick Taylor. But we are on a new venture, and we recently started a company called Liquid Light Factory with our friend Brad Triana, and it is sculpture design that also incorporates bits of technology as well. So Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So this is Nick Taylor, 1/3 of Liquid Light Factory. Unfortunately, Brad wasn't able to be with us here today, but he has a company called Both Studios that he has run for the last probably 10 years or so, doing sculptural design, furniture design. And as Jess mentioned, our background is in video production and digital imagery. So when we had an opportunity to work together on a project, we decided to create this new venture, Liquid Light Factory, where we would try to approach public art installations from a art and technology viewpoint. And this all kind of started with a project we're doing in Erie that's going to involve a physical sculpture, but also a projection mapping component. And we did a test case of this actually at Feed, which is a new media arts center in Erie, and really started to workshop some of our ideas for how we could marry art and technology into public art. And then most recently, we got to meet with Impact Corry and talk about the projects that you have going on here and how we might be able to bring our kind of creative minds to some new projects around the area.
What project will you be working on for the future Rails to Trails?
Sure. So initially, the idea is to create a gateway installation. So the idea we came up for that are 2 pillars that will be on either side of the road that, links the 2 halves of the park together. And so this design is still in the works, but, the idea is that these will act as almost like giant stained glass looking lamps. So as you're driving into downtown Corry during the day, as the sun shines through, you'll see different colors. And then at night, there'll be a lighting component on the inside, so you'll be able to see these glowing towers as you drive into downtown. And then the other idea that we're workshopping right now is creating these different partitions that can be used for either fencing or, landscape design throughout the park. And the idea for this is to use 2 CNC cut aluminum panels, and in between using that colored acrylic plexiglass to create a similar effect as the towers. But with this project, we are looking to actually tap into the community and generate some ideas with some of the local artists. So today we actually met with some pre-K aged kids at the YMCA here and had them start brainstorming and helping us come up with some designs for these different partitions. And the idea is that we will take some of those designs and translate them into what the CNC machines will cut out and hopefully have them throughout the park as well.
They also were able to take a tour of the Historical Society this morning with meeting with the youth and going into the tour for the Historical Society. How do you anticipate this visit and the interacting with the public? How do you think that will impact your design?
Actually, our whole team was born and raised in the Erie region area. So it's really important to us to get to know the area in which some of the, this artwork will be placed. Mm-hmm. So by going into the Historical Society and getting to see, where Corry has been and get to know some of that history, it will help us come up with some different ideas and thinking about how we can maybe preserve some of that story as we move into the future as well, because Corry's going through quite a renaissance, so to speak.
Yes.
And so it's important not to forget where you came from. And, and I know that a big shift for Corry is technology. Mm-hmm. And so, and that's a big part of our work is, we like to consider, potentially using reclaimed materials in some of, the sculpture if possible. But at the very least, getting some of that history and story through the imagery of the work.
Yeah, I was just going to add, the perspective we're taking on this is definitely influenced by our work as documentary filmmakers. I think when we're approaching a documentary, it is creating mosaic of people's voices. That's really what a documentary ends up being, is using those people's voices in the community to create one cohesive work. And I think that's kind of a little bit of the inspiration here today with our visit, is trying to get, the historical aspects of the Corry area, as well as, the next generation, by talking to school-aged kids and, working with them to essentially make physical mosaics that tell the story and maybe the future of the Corry area.
So that being said, what do you hope people will feel when they see your installed work?
As mentioned with the whole community aspect thing, I feel it's very important to show the culture of the area. And since this park is on a bike path, there will be a lot of people coming and going through the park. And so my hope is as they, make their way through this park, that they will get a little bit of that feeling and that visual for what the community is like in Corry. And I also hope that the people who are from here, that, whether or not they contributed to that design, can go there and get a sense of home and feel that connectiveness through that artwork.
Again, I'm sitting here with Jessica and Nick Taylor from Erie. You just went on a recent trip. Where was that? And what lessons did you bring back with you from that experience?
Yeah, so we recently took a trip to Prague in the Czech Republic. They were holding their 10th annual Signal Festival, which is a citywide art festival that showcases artists' work in sculpture, technology, artificial intelligence, lighting, and sound design. That is exactly, the type of work that we're looking to create here. But we wanted to do a little bit of R&D and kind of see what some of the best artists in the world are working on. So for us, it was a great opportunity to visit a new city we had never been in. And the work was scattered throughout the whole city in public parks and different galleries and spaces. Some of the work was being projected onto, giant churches and buildings throughout the city. So it was also a way for us to, get to explore different areas of the city as well. But, big thing that, big takeaway for me personally was just, seeing how the sky's the limit as far as what you can really imagine. And this is relatively new way of looking at public art. And I feel like it can be very accessible, and I think it has the potential to be extremely interactive. And for me, it was just very inspiring to look at that and be like, hey, we could do this in our area. This is totally doable, right. And I look forward to making things like that.
Yeah, I think you covered a lot. I would just say that it really showed us how intertwined art and technology really are, where one can kind of inspire the other to move forward in a certain direction. When we were there was everything from static sculptures to kinetic robotic sculptures. Some used like lasers, some used projectors, some used all different kinds of mediums. But a lot of the sculptures there had to do with the intersection of art and technology. And I think that's really the genesis of this new venture, Liquid Light Factory, is exploring that concept of how we can use new technology to push forward art, and in particular interactive or immersive art. So that's really what we're looking to explore and build upon with this new venture.
Well, we're very excited that you guys will be working on this future park, and it's an absolute honor and pleasure, and thank you for sitting with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes,
it's been great.
It's been great. It's been a great day.
Good.
Great day.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
That concludes our interview with Erie artists Jessica and Nick Taylor.